Well, hello, folks. Today I bring you something a little bit more alternative on my little updates, and that is what can Joe Rogan and the UFC or Ultimate Fighting Championship tell us about energy? Now, why am I even talking about this? Let's start that. Well, my nephew loves the UFC, and it gives us something to talk about. So he's got me into it. I started watching it, and well, there's guys beating each other up. And what's there not to like about that? Well, it's not quite my style. It wouldn't be what you catch me doing, but kudos to these guys for going in and doing it. It is the ultimate fighting championship is what it is, but it's certainly the ultimate alpha activity. And Joe Rogan has done UFC himself and is now probably the most successful podcaster on the planet. So it's not really going to be about all the masculine alpha male energy that I'm going to talk about on this. It's going to be about Joe Rogan himself, because through this journey, it's brought me on to watching his podcasts, and he brings in some very interesting people talking about very interesting things. But what I like about Joe Rogan is how he is unashamedly himself. I see I see a lot of people when they're podcasting, when they're presenting, when they're public speaking, they become a different version of themselves. They turn up as the person they think that the world wants to see. And as somebody that's taught public speaking skills and spent a lot of time practicing, evolving, and developing my own skills as a public speaker coach, I appreciate this. I certainly had my presenting persona before. I just decided it's better to show up as me. It's better to show up as me and just be unashamedly myself, since everyone else has taken. And that has been the lesson. It's taken many, many years, decades, in fact, to get to this spot. But the bottom line is something that is universal, that we can all learn something from the energy world. And that is to be yourself. I see so many people have like a public and a private profile. They're not the same person in public as they are in private. Now, it may be in your job that you can't be the person that you are in private because you probably get yourself sacked or you wouldn't be delivering on the level. But there's a lot to be said for being yourself and bringing that into all of the you do. For a start, from a stress management point of view, and from somebody that used to look after people that had heart attacks and strokes, when people split their personality too much, when they have to be something completely different in their job, in their life, in what they do professionally, it has an impact emotionally and energetically. And that is the bottom line here, folks. That the more you separate your personalities, the more that you feel you have to be someone else in one setting and not the other, the more impact it has on your mental health and eventually your physical health. Which is why I love Joe Rogan's podcast, because he is showing up as himself. He asks the controversial questions. There's a lot of people that wouldn't be fans of Joe Rogan, but I've really got to take to him and some of the conversations that he has, some of the interesting guests that they get in, some of the controversial subjects that he broaches, and he doesn't care. He doesn't care about whether this might make him look one way or another. And that is the ultimate goal from energy and personal development. Whether you like him or not, he doesn't care. He's comfortable enough within his own skin to not care what any of us think. And that is the beauty of Joe Rogan, love him or hate him. And not only that, but anybody that has put themselves in that alpha male arena of UFC, of fighting, of beating somebody up. Well, personally, it's not been something that I've even attempted since my school days. In fact, I'd like to think that I fought it out of myself as a teenager so that I've never had to have a fight for the last 40 odd years. So there you go, folks. That's my journey. It may be slightly less than 40 years, but it's certainly definitely more than 35. In fact, it's a lot more than 35. But anyway, I'm talking trivialities here. The bottom line is I have not swung a punch. I've not been punched for well over 35 years. And that's been my journey. But I certainly respect those that do professional sports, that do professional fighting, and it is great entertainment. So love it or hate it, folks, it is what it is. But it takes a certain level of confidence, it takes a hell of a lot of training, and it takes a great belief in yourself to be putting yourself through that mix. And not only that, especially for the fighters that lose, there's a bigger journey there. There's a bigger journey that you have to go through that fighting will teach you, that getting knocked down, not metaphorically, but actually getting knocked down, and for that all being there on a public record. From an energy point of view, it takes great resilience, it takes great perseverance, and there's a lot to be learned from this. So the journey of Joe Rogan, if he can teach us one thing about energy, if he can teach one thing about his life journey, and that is to be unashamedly yourself, to show up as yourself, to be yourself, and to not care what anyone else thinks, because sometimes you do get knocked down. There's going to be plenty of haters out there if you get popular. There's going to be plenty of people that don't agree with what you say. There's going to be plenty of people that don't approve. And what the life journey is, from an energy perspective, is to care less about what those people think and more about what you think about yourself. And their life, the lesson, folks. It's all about your relationship with yourself, and the impact that other people's opinions has on you is life's journey. The more you are influenced by people that you don't necessarily care about or know, the worse things are from an energy and mindset perspective. So there's no exercises here. This is just a life lesson that I notice through watching Joe Rogan. Well, it's not that I learned it from him, it's that he encapsulates that beautifully for me. Be yourself, folks, because everyone else is taken. And from an energy point of view, the more you are authentically yourself, the easier life gets. And if you'd like more of my little random rambles, then please do like and subscribe, folks. And if you want more of my content, then there's a video for you right there.